Well, I'm worried about the state of the world. I don't like where it's heading. It's scary. I feel like we've backtracked a lot from the 2010s, especially with like gay rights and women's rights and all of that stuff. And President Trump has said some really ugly things about the current mayor of New York City, like he's a communist, and when he identifies as a socialist Democrat, and like he's like the worst thing about New York and all that stuff. And I just think it's really ugly. He's spreading a lot of hate rhetoric around this country, and more people are coming out and being openly racist and homophobic, when in reality that didn't used to really happen. But now they have more of a platform to do so. So I don't like it.
And you said gay rights has regressed since 2010.
I would agree.
How specifically?
I just feel like not in terms of rights, maybe, but just in terms of people spewing homophobic rhetoric.
Okay, so you think that's increased since 2010?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
And then, so what do you think that is?
I feel like people have been more comfortable with saying the quiet part out loud because the president is comfortable with saying a lot of things that would be socially taboo in the past. And it kind of gave people the right, or they felt like they had the right to say certain things that normally or previously wasn't accepted. So people are a lot more vocal with their opinions, and there's a lot of more clashing opinions that are being brought to the light, I would say.
Yeah, and this is a big issue because on one hand, you have the First Amendment, obviously, which guarantees free speech. And then you have some people who would say, well, we need to implement hate speech laws because, some things we shouldn't allow to say. But then it's like, who determines what that is? And then if the let's say Democrats get it through when, they win in 2028, they implement hate speech laws. If a Republican takes over later on, they can change those hate speech laws at will. So that's something that a lot of people struggle with. What are your thoughts on that?
I mean, it's such a gray area, so I don't really have much to say on that. We'll just have to see what happens,
Yeah. And then as far as Mamdani, as he's a self-proclaimed socialist, as you said, do you think that socialism has been looked at in a bad light, or do you think that it's worked somewhere in the world that we can copy?
Well, socialism has always been looked down upon. It's not a communist ideology, but they have similarities. And a lot of people, like the U.S., has really demonized communism in our education. It's like really propagandized, I feel. But
what do you think that is?
Communism threatens capitalist societies. And I think that's why. Is that it threatens the 1%. And if everybody is equal, they won't have their money, they won't have their status, because everybody else will have it as well. If that makes sense.
Got it. So communism it wants a classless society. Everyone works. Maybe you can inform me, because I don't know too much about communism, but in a communist country, who do you work for?
The government, right? You work for...
So,
is that not it?
So everyone would work for the government in a communist society?
I honestly don't know that much about it, but I just know it's ideals, but not really the ins and outs of communism.
And then, so does a communist society have something like, I don't know, like a First Amendment, something similar to that, where people can say what they want or be free, etc.?
I honestly don't know.
Okay.
I don't know much about that.
Okay. All right. Well, I appreciate that. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good one.
Are you guys like pro-communism or socialism? No.
I mean, I like some socialist ideals, but I don't identify as a socialist. I don't identify as a communist. But I do feel like some people deserve to have equal stuff compared to like everybody. Everybody deserves to eat. Everybody deserves to have free water. And that's my ideal. But I'm a Democrat. I don't identify as a socialist.
So can I tell you something? Because I was researching this.
Yeah.
Abject poverty, the levels around the world have gone down more than at any other time in human history since capitalism has been the main form of government, especially in America. When I see something like that, of course, in my estimation, we still have poor people, right? You will always have poor people up until the point where AI does everything for us, right? But if I look at every system of government, communism, socialism, the kingdom, authoritarian capitalism, looks like capitalism has worked the best out of all of them.
For sure. I know, I totally agree. It has. Communism, it's great in theory, but it just does not work.
Yeah.
It never has and it never will. But
that's exactly it. It's a utopian idea of like, everything will be free, everybody will be equal.
Exactly.
But unfortunately, it's the complete opposite. My great-grandparents fell for that in Soviet Union in the 1920s.
Wow.
They fought for it. They wanted it. The next thing they realized, they brought absolute tyranny, essentially, where nobody has freedom of speech, nobody has free stuff, everything's owned by the government, they tell you what to do. And quickly they realized, what am I going to do?
Yeah.
They tried to revolt. They all got slaughtered like that. So it's unfortunate. Like, it's easy to appeal to people. Freeze rent, free buses. But it's all, which is what he's doing. And I'm a Republican. I fault my side of it because we're not offering solutions right now. Mamdani is at least offering solutions that are they're not realistic, but at least it's solutions that appeal to people, like the free bus and stuff like that. So glad to hear that, because I was like, I hope they're not pro-socialism.
It doesn't
I'm like,
work.
damn it, what is Georgia State doing? Because I went here like 8 years ago, and I'm like, nah, they were definitely not teaching that.
I mean, it's great in theory, but it just doesn't work.
Yeah.
Cuba, Soviet Union, just doesn't.
Yeah.
It's not.
My family came from Cuba, so I definitely, and it happens quick.
It does.
It happens quick. Castro came in, he said, oh, it's not going to be a communist revolution. He got in a month later, he goes, this is a communist revolution. And I'm buying all your houses from you at whatever I want, or I take them. What do you want to do?
Well,
Scary.
Crazy, huh?
Yeah.
Hey guys, we're asking students their thoughts on Mamdani winning the mayorship in New York. Do you have any ideas? You like him? You don't like him? Or...
I love it. I think it's great. We need more of it here in Atlanta.
Okay. Can you tell us like what you like about him or his policies?
I just like that he cares about people and that he actually like puts himself out there and seems like he's actually standing up for like working class people with the policies that he's presented about like rent prices and all of those types of economic things.
So you mean like the rent freeze?
Yes.
Okay. And then so historically that's been tried in New York before. I don't know if you know that.
I did not actually.
Okay. It didn't go so well because I guess what happened was because the people who owned the homes and apartment buildings couldn't make any money, they didn't refurbish anything. It was really bad living conditions, and a lot of people actually burned their own buildings down to get the insurance money. So, I mean, we'll see what happens this time, but.
I mean, I see what you're saying, but I think that's more of the problems with like landlords and like you said, the people that own the buildings, not the people living in them that are the working class people. So I think that would be more of the problem in what you're saying, but I definitely respect that opinion. And I think that is definitely like a point to be considered.
Yeah. And then as far as him identifying as a socialist, is that a problem for you at all, or does it not really matter?
Actually, like I think that honestly we've been proven enough that capitalism is not doing us correctly. So I think if people have other ideas for how we might be able to make this work, I welcome them and I encourage it, because obviously capitalism is not doing its job.
That's an interesting point you make. Well, what exactly do you mean by that? Can you unpack that?
There's just so many people that capitalism builds itself off of taking advantage of working class people, and it always has and it always will. And it will always benefit the top, and the whole theory of capitalism and trickle-down economics obviously has not worked for us here in America. So I think we need to at least start looking at new ideas to be able to move forward from it being built off of working class people.
And that's mostly because you say people are working for what, like slave wages, or what?
Yeah, I think right now, between the cost of living and everything like that, the wages are nowhere near close enough to actually support any type of family or any type of like individual that wants to live a fully fledged life where they deserve happiness and joy. And right now, people don't have the time for that, and they deserve that time.
So maybe you can educate me, because I don't know too much about socialism, but in a socialist society, people still work, right?
Yes.
And then who pays them?
It would I will say, I am not going to put myself out there and say that I am any type of fully educated on this, because even myself, I am still learning. But it would just be a different form of forming the government and forming those different types of things. And it's the same thing as we already have certain things in place that already benefit our society, like SNAP that's getting ended right now, and these types of things, and these types of like, we can create more things and more programs and ways to pay people that benefit the greater majority rather than the billionaires at the top.
So is socialism where everyone works for the government and then the government pays them, or how does that work? Because so capitalism, you work for whoever you want basically, and then they pay you, but you said the wages are too low. I'm just curious, how is socialism different, or how would it be structured differently?
I have to get to class, and I will say, like I just said a second ago, I am not fully educated on the topic, so I'm not going to put myself in a place to talk out of my ass.
All right. Thank you. No,
but y'all have a good day.
Yeah, thank you.
I do have one quick question. I know you're going to class, but I'm actually pro-socialism, and I was wondering, is there like, 'cause we always fight about this, isn't there like a country that is already socialist and is succeeding incredibly, like Cuba, former USSR, for example, Venezuela? Is that something that you want to see happen in America as well?
I think the way that it's been institutionalized in other places isn't necessarily going to work here. I think it's something to look at as a basis and look at as inspiration.
Like Cuba is the basis, or Soviet Union is a good basis for it.
I think it depends. I think it depends on like what exactly like policies you're looking at, and I think it depends on like what you are looking at. But I think there are some other places and some other things that we can take inspiration of, because we are in America. It is very different than other places, so we have to adjust. We have to figure things out, and we have to.
Is there like a certain part of the country that is socialism that is good for America?
I think honestly not currently. I think we've gotten ourselves in so much shit that we're gonna have to figure ourselves out and figure out a new way to do it, basically.
Got it. Okay. Cool. Thank you so much.
Of course. Have a good one.
Thanks.
Like him? Do you not like him?
I'd say when I look at his policies, I think it's good to have some diversity in America, especially with, I guess, setting the precedent that, yeah, this is possible to do.
What specifically would you mean it's possible to do?
I think, well, to be honest, I'm not that educated on it. I don't really follow politics too closely, but I guess that speaks for how like widespread he is. Like the fact that I know this much. Well, I guess freezing the rent, I think government or like, what is it, like state grocery stores or whatever?
He wants to open state-run grocery stores.
Yeah, and just lowering price. I think having that, I like that. Personally, I don't know the ins and outs of everything, so I could be completely wrong and I wouldn't know. But I like what he's trying to do, and I think it's new.
Yeah, so one of the biggest issues that people will say historically when you have frozen rents, which they have done many times, especially in New York City, I believe in the 70s, was that there was no incentive for the people to actually repair their property because the government wasn't allowing them to make more than a certain amount of money. So if there's no money to be made, they didn't fix the homes, and what ended up happening is tons of people actually burned their own buildings down for the insurance money because they couldn't make a profit off it. So that's been the biggest issue with rent control. Do you think anything like that? I mean, now that you know that, does it kind of change your idea of what that should or could do?
I think, well, that is a valid point, and I think if he tries to implement this, which he has said, I think he said that he's very results driven. So whatever he does and he attempts and it doesn't work, then he will probably go back to what it was before. I think attempting something new is better than just letting a problem sit and just get worse when there could be maybe a solution to it. And if freezing rent is not the solution to lowering cost of living, then it's not, and then he could collaborate with other policymakers to figure out something that can work.
And so, do you have any thoughts on, obviously he's a self-proclaimed socialist, do you have any feelings about him actually being a socialist in America as mayor of New York? Do you think it's good, bad?
I think it's good. I personally, I'm not super left leaning. I would say I'm more moderate. I was actually pretty conservative a few years back. Yeah. I will say I still kind of believe in those things, but him as a socialist, I think when I look at America and I see how much political polarization there is, I think him being here and being being a mayor of such an influential city in America, I think it's a good thing to have more political views out there, and especially people in power, I'd say.
Now, when it comes to making things affordable, rents, etc., making the buses free, a lot of people don't know that the mayor actually doesn't set tax policy, it's a legislature. So do you think he'll be able to get anything done?
I don't know. I mean, the way he says it, but then again, that's what politics is. You say things so that you get voters, so maybe he can't. The way he portrays it, he's very confident, and I like that. Does confident actually equate to results? No. I mean, we can look at Donald Trump for that. Or just any political, leader in any part of the world. So I don't know. That's actually a great question. I would hope that it works out. But what you said with if it's determined by legislature and he does not have the influence or the power to do so, then probably not. Yeah.
And then my last question. So you said I'm not really too in tune with politics. I don't know where you rank on knowledge of socialism, things like that. Do you feel like you've learned enough about communism and socialism to have a good foundation to know whether it's good or bad? Because all of these things he's tried has been tried so many times. Do you feel like the education system has really taught you the differences between socialism and capitalism to a good extent?
I would say, but then again, I was in my class, I was not the most attentive. I will say this though, I feel like when I look at the history and the downfall of communism, and I think it can all go down to one thing, and it's just human greed. That's just something that's in our, that's just, I guess, born into us. We want to be, I guess, survival of the fittest. So if we had the option, we had the power to manipulate certain things for our own benefit, we would. And we see this with capitalism. I wouldn't say capitalism is bad, but I think when people are starting to say, oh, look at this, the middle class is struggling while, the corporate, they're just keep turning over profit, more profit. I'm thinking it's not really an issue of the economy, because this has been happening for centuries. The American soil that we live on, we've taken it. It's all about capitalism. For me, I view it as very much taking from the rich and giving, or taking from the poor and giving it to the rich. It's been like that for a while, and the only reason why we're complaining now is because it's affecting the middle class.
Now, would you be in favor of something like eliminating all income tax and replacing it with a consumption tax, meaning you keep your entire paycheck? In fact, you get what's called a prebate, where the government sends you, let's say, $400 a month, but you increase the sales tax to include a consumption tax, meaning no capital gains tax, no real estate tax, no tax on anything, only when you buy new products, not used products.
What would that change exactly? Like, what would that benefit specifically? I guess that would be.
So for people on the left, like they keep talking about paying your fair share. The billionaires aren't paying their fair share. A consumption tax switches it to how much you make to how much you spend. So the more you spend, the more you pay in taxes. So a billionaire will spend a lot more than a person making $50,000 a year. And because there's no tax, you get your full paycheck. So if you want to invest or start a business or save more, you have that ability, about 20% more of your paycheck.
I could see how that can go wrong as well. I forgot the company. I think it was one of the big seven right now. So Oracle, Microsoft, or OpenAI, they just held on to their cash, and then they made a bunch of investments. I don't know if us only taxing what we consume would be a good way to, because what happens if they just hold on to everything, right?
Well, I think that's part of the point. The average American has $3,000 in their bank account, right. So, and that's not enough to survive even more than a month or so with bills. So the inability to save, as well as the inability to actually invest in things and start new businesses and take those chances. Actually, the Tax Foundation said that over a course of 10 years, adding a consumption tax would grow the economy by 10 to 15% more, the GDP rather, more than what is standard. So in addition to whatever the growth is.
Okay.
It's a new concept. It's interesting. It's not new, sorry. They are trying to pass it in Congress, but it doesn't have enough support.
Okay, so what political party is mainly supporting this? Would it be the left or?
There's a lot of people in both parties actually supporting it because you allow the person who doesn't have much. Right now, they basically don't pay any taxes anyway. If you look at the overall scheme of things, right? But you give them a prebate, so in addition to them not paying taxes, you give them a check for about $400 per person who in the country who is working, in addition to them not paying taxes. So you decide how much taxes you pay. So if you don't want to pay taxes, you can buy used. There's no taxes on that. Or you can simply say, I choose not to make this purchase because I want to save my money rather than paying the taxes on it.
Okay, I see. So would they tax, if I were to buy, stocks or whatever, would they tax that?
No capital gains tax on anything. No taxes on medical supplies and medical things. No tax on rent. No taxes on food. So nothing on necessaries.
I don't know how that would really get passed. What's the support looking like? Is it a lot, or is it just kind of like
There's actually a lot of support on both sides, and then you would also eliminate the IRS. So that means no more middle class getting audits from the IRS. No more $20 billion a year that we spend having the IRS open. No more of that. No more having to pay to file your taxes. No more having to go through all those complicated forms.
Yeah, I'd say I'm for that. Now, obviously, what are the results actually going to look like, and when we actually apply to the real world, and whether or not people I guess we're the companies that do your taxes for you. People like that would definitely try to go against that, right?
Like TurboTax and companies like that. Yeah.
Obviously, they'd lobby against that. And now, whether or not this actually would pass, it sounds like a great idea, and I'd hope that goes into place. Now, I don't know enough to know for sure whether it would work out better than what we have now. But that sounds like a cool idea.
Yeah, I agree, and I'm all for it, man. I appreciate it. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much.
Thank you, man.
What is your name?
Fabian.
We're here in Atlanta, Georgia, in the middle of Georgia State University, and what do we see when we take a Yes, when we come around the corner. We're here in Atlanta, Georgia, at the Georgia State University, and what do we see all over the university? Again, communism and socialism. We just saw Mom Donnie win pretty much on socialist ideas in New York City. We spoke to some college students here, and they would love to see the same thing in Atlanta. Fabian, what do you think? Why are so many college students falling in love with socialism and putting these stupid stickers around here?
Same as always. They go after people in the universities. You have this idea of how the world should be, and then you see the news and you say, that's not what I have in my head. Let's try to get to this utopia. And that's where communism really comes in, because communism offers you a perfect world. And if things aren't perfect now, they tell you we have hidden knowledge how to make it perfect, so just follow us. And then you get people who get indoctrinated, and then they start doing stuff like this when they really don't know that socialism and communism has killed hundreds of millions of people across time, and it has never worked, because you can't ever get to a perfect world. Things are hard. You have to work.
Absolutely. And I find it really interesting that we pretty much see these posters exclusively at college campuses. It seems like they're purposely trying to target a certain demographic of people, the college students. And historically speaking, Fabian, you know this best. Why are socialists targeting college students?
Yeah, and again, it's because people in college, they haven't been exposed to different styles of government. They live here. We have the most comfortable life we've ever had in the history of humanity, even though people don't want to believe it. We can order food at a push of a button and it comes to our house, which is incredible. You can order anything from Amazon and it shows up at your doorstep. But to them, that's not enough, because they don't understand any other type of living, any other type of government. They've never lived anywhere. So of course, if someone tells you you're oppressed, you're going to say, yep, this world is very oppressive, so we need to make it different. That's a problem.
I think this has to be the funniest combinations of posters I've seen so far. So you have Refuse Fascism, which is an organization that's doing a sit-in right now outside the Capitol and around the White House and whatnot. Rainbow, right? Colors. And right next to it is Lenin with his fist up. So is this like a modern twist to communism? I think truly a lot of people do think that support all of this end up supporting this because they're under the impression that everybody's equal in a communist society, which is true. They are all equal, but
equally poor.
Equally poor, thank you, with no rights, no freedoms, no individuality. Nope. You're just one big group of equal people that don't have any rights like this. So
yeah, exactly. And it's funny because communism is supposed to be everyone's equal, but in Lenin-style communism, it's a top-down. So all they do is they rule you, because he literally said in his book that people are too dumb to understand that they need a revolution. So we have to do it for them. We have to take the power. And do you think they ever give up power? Like, has there ever been any leader who's like, you know what, guys, I think things are good. I'm going to just disband my entire government, give up all my powers so you can just keep going? Of course not.
It's the same thing every time, regardless of how many times the college students here will tell us that we're just voting for something new. That feels new. It's not new. It's something that's been going on for centuries, that's killed millions of people. It's just a new twist to it with a rainbow flag on to make people feel good about it.
That's all it is.